Madam Reading Clerk, for items on the Senate third reading calendar.
SB203, Immigration Consultants Amendments by Senator Escamilla. This bill was heard in Government Operations with a vote of 901. The House sponsor is Representative Jeremy Peterson.
Representative Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem. Representatives, it appears in the break room we have some Weber State ice cream. It says, Weber State, making dreams happen. And there is nothing that I dream more of than having a bill pulled off the consent calendar. And so I am very grateful we have an opportunity to discuss this bill. In 2012, we passed legislation that regulated the immigrant consultant industry. Prior to that, in the immigrant community, there were people masquerading as attorneys or notarios in the parlance of the community who would prey upon the gullibility and lack of knowledge of those coming freshly into our state. There was a lot of deception, fraud, and other bad things happening in this industry, so we decided to protect this community, to create some basic structure and regulations on how these consultants would operate to help people in the immigration process. The Division of Consumer Protection was charged with administering and implementing this program, and over the interim, they contacted Senator Escamilla and I to discuss some of the weaknesses or wrinkles that they discovered in implementing the program. Basically, we had legislative intent conflicting with practical application, and so they had a list of recommendations that they made to us to change statutorily. This bill represents those recommended changes, and that is what you have before you.
Thank you, Representative. Does that complete your presentation on the bill?
That completes my presentation.
Thank you, sir. Discussion to the bill. Representative Cutler.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker Pro Tem, and I'm the one that did that. So I have a question on lines 130 to 133, where previously employees of a nonprofit tax-exempt corporation could assist in this and didn't have to be bonded. I appreciate some of these tax-exempt corporations, and they operate on a very tight budget, and I was just curious why they now have to get a bond, and do they have to get a bond? So would the Speaker yield to a question? I guess I want to add a question on to this.
Will the sponsor yield?
I will yield. One moment.
Go ahead.
So I just wanted to find out if every employee of that nonprofit now has to be bonded. Do they have to have separate bonds, or can the firm itself get a bond to cover all of them? It wasn't clear in the bill how that would happen.
Yes, thank you. Basically, these entities are already regulated under a separate section of code, and so this was redundant code, and that's why it's being stricken. Okay, so they would have to continue to have the same bonding that they would cover, and then they can continue to do what they were doing before. Their regulations also come from the Department of Homeland Security, so we have federal protections in place also with that. I don't know the exact bonding requirement, but they are regulated under a separate section of code in a different way.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Additional discussion to the bill. Seeing none, Representative, back to you for summation.
Thank you. I appreciate your support.
Representatives, voting is open on Senate Bill 203, Immigration Consultants Amendments. Seeing all present having voted, voting is closed. Senate Bill 203, having received 72 yea votes, 0 nay votes, passes the House, will be signed by the Speaker Pro Tem and returned to the Senate for the signature of the President. Representative Grover.